Thwack. The bathroom door crashed open one morning, revealing one of my 3-year-old daughters in all of her bedheaded glory, wearing only her underwear. There I was, brushing my teeth in all of my just barely squeezed in a shower glory, wearing only my underwear. She stopped, skinny little arm outstretched against the door, and her eyes locked on my midsection. She looked, quite frankly, concerned for me. "Mommy, why is your tummy squishy?" Squishy is probably a kinder word than my post-twins and one more baby tummy really deserves. But as I thought about how to answer her question, I knew that this was one of those moments in which my words would really matter. I don't want my children to learn body image issues from me. I may not love my squishy tummy, but it's here because my 3 little girls are here, so I've made peace with it, at least for now. I said, "Because it had to get really, really big to make space for you and your sisters." "When we were tiny babies," she exclaimed. She hugged me and ran away carefree, thinking not about stretch marks or cellulite, but about love and mommies and babies. That conversation about my squishy tummy got me thinking about how motherhood really is all about making space. It starts with pregnancy, of course, in the most obvious of ways. Our bodies expand to make space for the baby. More significant, though, is the way that becoming a mother abruptly takes over space in our hearts and minds. When I was first pregnant with my twins, I daydreamed about motherhood in that foolish, romantic way that you can when you've never actually been a mother. I honestly thought that I would be like Marmee from Little Women, full of kindness and gentle wisdom, but with better hair and cuter shoes. As hormones pulsed through my body, visions of baby names and belly bands raced around in my head, leaving little room for anything else. Before I even knew what was happening, I allowed motherhood to take up as much space as it wanted. It was all so new, so thrilling, and I gave myself over to it completely. Now, my children are here, growing and learning and demanding, and I continue to give myself, my time, my love, my space to them. I make space for them in my bed when they sneak softly down the hall in the middle of the night. I make space in the yard for them to run, space for their toys, their pine cone collections, their shoes. I answer their never-ending questions and satisfy their never-ending hunger. I am always thinking about them in one way or another, and sometimes it gets to be too much. They take up too much of my space, too much of myself, until I feel like I hardly exist anymore. On the hard days, when I yell because they won't stop yelling, cry because they won't stop crying, I just want to scream, "Where is my space? Will I ever get a moment to think, to write, to pee, to breathe?" That's when I have to take a break and give us all exactly what I think I don't have enough of: space. I have to empty myself out of all of their noise and needs so that I can remember who I am and what I need. A little quiet, a little solitude, a little time to do what I love, and then I can face it all again. And they need space too. The intensity of the relationship between a stay-at-home mom and her children can get to be too much for everyone. I try to find balance, but it's never easy. When the twins were just barely a year old, I discovered I was pregnant again. I cried. I didn't know how it could possibly work. I already had 2 babies. I didn't think I had enough space in my life for another. How could I give more than I was already giving? How could I ask my 2 little girls to give up space for a baby when they were hardly more than babies themselves? But then our tiny girl was born. She burst into the world 6 weeks early and threw our lives into a whirlwind of NICU visits and pumping breast milk and too many takeout dinners. And the miracle of motherhood is that once she was here, it wasn't hard at all to make space for her in our lives. I'm not saying that the transition from 2 children to 3 was easy. It wasn't. But when we were finally able to bring our baby home to her sisters and her dogs and her own crib and her own room, I learned that even when I think I'm at my limit, when I'm tired and overwhelmed and all I want is to be alone, I will still make space for my children. That's what mothers do. It's not glamorous or exalted or saintly. We just do it because we have to, because we brought these little creatures into the world and they need us. Now that she's here, I can't imagine our family without our fierce and funny youngest girl. Just the other morning, as my husband was backing out of the driveway and heading to work, the twins were pressed up against the window, waiting to wave to him. Their little sister wasn't really paying attention, and in a rare display of sisterly graciousness, they called her over. "Come here," one of them said. "Come wave to Daddy. We'll make space for you." And I stood back and watched as a big sister put her arm around a little sister and made space for her, even if it was just for a moment. Being a mother is hard. Creating a family is hard. Some days, it feels like there really isn't enough space for all of us. But in that moment, it was clear that no matter what, we're in this together. We all have to make space for the ones we love. That's just what families do.